Hi there and welcome to our GTV preview show for the race meeting at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Sunday the 13th of July. We've got 10 races on the poly. My co-pilot for this show is Dees Dynand. And before we get into race one, Dees, a quick word about the card in general. It looks a real competitive day's racing.
I think the way to go will be the exotics, Graham. Having punt on the head. I think you really have to be strong on something that you like on form, or maybe it's one of your Nagme horses that you've been following. But other than that, my suggestion is this race card, get on the tote with the exotics.
So there we go. It's a tough day's racing. One or two horses that we might have found at some value for you, but let's go through them race by race, starting with race one. It is the New Turf Carriers race day, and the first race is the New Turf Carriers Stopover Quarantine Maiden Plate, 1,400 meters. We've got 9 runners carded, no changes at the time of recording, which, as you all know, is early on a Saturday morning. But before we go any further, we have an interview with Stuart Ferry, Peter Muscat and Nicolette Roscoe.
Yeah, listen, last race nothing went to plan, and he ran a credible race. So off a good draw this time. He's obviously been on the poly, he's been around the turn, so yeah, he's doing well at home. He must be hopefully in the firing line.
Yes, the Owner's Dream is a nice colt, quality colt in the making. He has galloped at Greyville on the poly, but I still do expect him to be a little bit green. He's unsure of horses around him. He's fit enough to do himself justice on debut, but will certainly take improvement on that front from his race. I look forward to an encouraging debut, but he probably will still be a bit green, and he's looking for a bit further too.
Yeah, no, we definitely do. You know, his first run out over the 1200, he was very outpaced. He finished quite far back. He's not a big little horse, but we thought there is some improvement. And his next run back, he actually finished on nicely, just off them, just under 2 lengths. So we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. His work is doing well. We've put him back on the poly, so I think he'll be in with a shot.
Well, one of my stronger fancies on the card comes in the opening event, D's. But before we get to that, quick look at the anti-post betting. Number 1, the Centurion from the stable of Pitt Buerta with championship chasing Gavin Lorena aboard. That's at 3-1. 3 Master Silvano at 22-10. The first timer from the Peter Muscat stable, number 4, DeAndre's Dream, is at 22-10. And there has been a bit of money around for number 4, DeAndre's Dream. But we heard there from Peter Muscat, yes, he's looking forward to an encouraging debut effort, but he might be a little bit on the green side and might prefer a little bit further. And then we also heard from Nicolette Roscoe, who's charged number 5, Pembury, is at 9-2. So it's a maiden plate, 1,400 meters to get the 10-race card underway, D's. I'm firmly in the camp. I'm going to take a punt to number 3, Master Silvano. I know there's opposition. Clearly, you've got to respect the Centurion and Pembury. And the first timer is a bit of an unknown. But I do think there was a lot of talk about Master Silvano before he even ran, when he made his debut at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. That was at the big sprint meeting. There was a lot of talk about Master Silvano. He was very green on that occasion. I think he's ready to step forward.
I think you could be on the right horse here, Graham, with Master Silvano. And having watched him last time out on the poly track, he just seemed to overcome the draw. He was a bit awkward out the stalls, 7 out of 7. Now he's better drawn, as Stuart Ferry mentioned. So he'll have an obvious each-way chance. This first time at DeAndre's Dream, just to add on what Peter Muscat mentioned there, Serena Moodley has been working this horse back home, and he says he's a very nice horse. Only greediness will beat him on the day, because on his work, he's expecting the horse to have an each-way chance. So he likes the horse a lot, and the fact that, he's been working the horse, I think is a big positive. So with all due respect, barring a horse like Master Silvano and Pembury, I think Peter Muscat may have picked the right race for this horse. And to add on that, he's entered for the end of the month in the Group 1. So they're hoping that the horse wins and possibly qualifies. Pembury, on the other hand, Graham, watching him over 1,400 at his last start, he seemed to be all at sea. But when the race was over, that's when he started to warm up. And I think he just needed time. And if you watched racing the other day at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, Paul Lafferty's runner Brew has come out to win from that form line. So that just enhances the chances of 5 Pembury. And the 400 to finish, 22.2 seconds. that grabs my attention. So I think between numbers 3 and 5 of the race runners, you should get your winner, but a lot of respect for the first timer, Graham.
Well, we all know that Dees Dine is Serena Moodley's agent, so valuable information coming through regarding number 4, DeAndre's Dream. You've got to factor that into the play. Obviously, the betting will tell its own story as we approach race time. This race does not form part of the exotics. For the moment, I'm in the camp of number 3, Master Silvana, but I'll be watching number 4, DeAndre's Dream, go to the post, and also monitoring the betting activity as we head towards 11:45, which is the off time of the first race.
Start of the exotics will be race number 2, and it's a progress plate over 1,200 meters. And at the top of the show, as I mentioned to Graham, the exotics are the way to go, and I think it's percentage play. Jackpot begins at 12:20. We'll bring up the field and have a look at some betting. Of course, number 8 is a scratching here. Number 2, Henry Harvey from 9-2. That's been backed into 7-2. 4 Future Variety at 22-10, and we got an even money shot, number 5, Wings of Change. Very interesting, this best weighted column, Graham, because a clear standout is number 5, Wings of Change, ahead of number 4, Future Variety, and then there's a gap to Bourbon Warrior. I'm going to begin with the number 5, Wings of Change, who we know was, after his 2-year-old campaign, he was possibly the highest rated maiden 2-year-old in the country. But then went back to back, and rightfully so. What do you make of his rating hike, Graham, in that computer form sprint from a 107 to a 121? I know you're going to have to be the judge as the racing fan out there, whether you agree with that rating or not, because he's run in the Golden Horse Sprint. It was no show. It may have been the track that he was unsuited to. But Graham, if he runs anywhere near that rating, and if the handicapper's got the calculations right, there should be no race.
Shouldn't be a race, number 5, Winds of Change. Obviously, the caveat comes in the form of the fact that both he and number 4, Future Variety, have never seen the poly track before. We don't get too many progress plates, so yes, this is an opportunity for those ratings to come under scrutiny, because the rating doesn't affect the weights, it's the number of wins that affects the weights, being a progress plate for 1, 2 and 3 time winners. But he's absolutely handicapped to certainty. I'm a bit concerned that he took no interest, obviously, in the Golden Horse. He ran no kind of a race at all, but the previous run in the computer form sprint was very encouraging. Also, his best form is clearly, in my view, over 1,000 meters, 1,200 meters on the poly track. That is the caveat. On ability, he should absolutely cakewalk this, with number 4, Future Variety, being the only danger as far as ratings are concerned. But as you mentioned, there is money coming for an interesting runner, number 2, Henry Harvey, a 3-year-old son of the United States. He's only had the 2 starts. He won on debut way back in July last year, and then we saw him again in September last year. We haven't seen him since. So clearly he's got issues. The money's coming. We don't know. We'll have to take his current fitness on trust, and the betting may suggest that he's ready to run the race of his life. He's got a nice draw. He's also on the poly track for the first time. But I've got to go with the ratings. I've got to go with 5 Winds of Change and 4 Future Variety. In fact, they're very lucky that this progress plate stood up, because a couple of runners in here, if their race ratings are taken into account, they're showing up to try and chase 3rd and 4th prize money.
Okay, Winds of Change, if you believe in the rating. And as Graham mentioned, a slight concern for him could be the distance and, of course, the surface. But no doubt, he is the class package in the race. Future Variety has had 2 nice runs in the province. And if he takes to the poly track on his last start, which was a fair run in the Golden Horse Sprint, he could make his presence felt. And then the unknown in the race, we say unknown because the horse has been off for around 9.5 months, but finding anti-post betting support is number 2, Henry Harvey. Play around those 3 runners and you should get the trifecta, the exacta, and you should be safe in the buy pot.
We move on to the third race, which is off at 12.55. It's a maiden plate over 1,000 metres. It's off at 12.55, as I mentioned. It's the first leg of the place accumulator. A couple of runners with decent form in the race, one of which is number 7, Priory Terrace. That is trained by Alison Wright. Let's hear what she's got to say.
It's given 2 good runs. We've brought her back over the 1,000. Last time out she travelled quite well. And she is taking on the boys, but her work has been very good and feel that she'll be involved in the finish.
Priory Terrace comes into this race with 2 runs under the belt, finished second on both occasions, has been solidly backed on each occasion. On debut from 10-1 into 9-2. Next up started even money favourite, found one better on both occasions. But the market leader in the race is number 6, Holy Star, 2-year-old son of Pomodoro from the Garth Puller stable. That's at 22-10. Also finished second in its last 2 starts. Priory Terrace is at 4-1, along with number 5, Simbini at 4-1. Number 4, Clickbait is at 6-1. 8, Berrington Blue is at 7-1. Those are the ones quoted in single figures. To cut to the chase, D's, make it a match race between number 6, Holy Star, and 7, Priory Terrace. Those are the 2 that I'm going to include in the first leg of the place accumulator. Those are the 2 that I'm going to include in the second leg of the bipot. And I'm going to play around those 2 horses as far as the trifectas and exactas are concerned. There are others with form, but I think the winner will emerge from one of those 2.
Well, Graham, you've got more confidence in me in this race because I'll make this complicated. 2-year-old fillies, older horses, older filly in the race. It looks tough. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, Graham, playing around those numbers. So I'm going to try and possibly narrow it down. I'm glad that you've got 2 runners for the PA and the bipot because MJ Ordinal's got 2 runners, 4 Clickbait and 8 Berrington Blue. The most interesting of them is the 2-year-old filly who gets, beside the 6 allowance, he's gone with the claim 4 as well, 7-1 into 9-2 anti-post. And we know that Quick Step Gal for Tini Prinsloo is a very exciting filly. She's soon won twice. She ran second. Of course, we know that the connections objected, etc. On July day. Didn't work out. But this horse, Berrington Blue, got once she got thumper her by 6 lengths. The fact is that she did run second. So she's the most interesting runner coming off what we'll call a 4.5-month break. Priory Terrace, you heard from Alison Wright. She's fit and well. They're expecting a good run. Holy Star for me was a bit disappointing last time out. It looked like the right race, Graham. Odds-on favourite, didn't deliver. Simbini brings some strong Gauteng form lines into the race, and Clickbait is not out of it with the services of Callan Murray. So I think the winner should come from 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. If I had to pick my numbers, I'm going to add, you going 6 and 7 here, Graham?
Yeah.
I'm going to include number 8, Graham. I like Berrington Blue at the weights, and I don't think she'll be a difficult ride for the apprentice from the draw because she showed a lot of pace and speed prior to the layoff, and I think that will be the plan. So 6, 7, and 8 for me, Graham.
And that's why 2 of us fly the plane on these shows. So I'm also going to throw number 8, Berrington Blue, into the mix. Dees has persuaded me. My top choice in the race, interestingly, would be number 7, Priory Terrace. I think ready to win. Going to back it up with number 6, Holy Star. And I'm going to take Dees' advice and throw in number 8, Berrington Blue as far as the bipod is concerned. But I'm happy to go with the 2 horses in the first leg of the place accumulator.
Well, race number 4 will be the pick 6. Guys, my suggestion before we even go to these interviews is play the pick 6 on Sunday. Play a percentage of it. You are heading for a big dividend regardless of the results, races 4 through to 9. But we need all the help, and maybe this interview package can point us in the right direction.
Yeah, Capricious Mist's first run was very pleasing. Since then she's had 2 disappointing runs. Putting it down maybe to Scottsville, the course, not enjoying that going. Having her first run on the poly, hasn't got the best of draws, but just looking for a better run.
Yeah, she's disappointed. She shows better, better than she's actually shown on the track. So maybe she's just take a bit of time to mature. So we get in, she's, like I say, we're looking for improvement. Her work at home is way better than what.
Well, the betting is like so, racing fans. Race number 4, number 1 Fantasy League is at 8-1. Then we got 3 Valley Girl 2-1. Well, if you want to go for that, good luck. But I think race time you'll get much bigger odds. This is anti-post as we record the show a day earlier. Number 6, Jumping the Green Light at 9-2. Number 8, Intro at 4-1. Gavin Arena has picked up a very interesting ride here, and he's picking his spots, and he seems to be hitting the bullseye more often than not, getting to the close of the season. Number 10 in the sky, in the line in the sky, Graham. Let me get that right. Gavin Arena 5-1. So, Graham, the first leg of the pick six, I'm going to take a big bold chance here, because if I go more than this, then it absolutely becomes a field. I'll give you my numbers in numerical order. 3, Valley Girl, for obvious reasons, her recent form, but no degree of confidence. She's having a 17th run. I know that Jumping the Green Light is no star, but the stable, who is in great form, may have picked the right race for her. She will get my vote for the pick six. Intro from the Com Naidu stable had a good introduction to racing in KZN. Blinkers are on, Graham. I got that change. Ran with the blinkers last time out, not carded in the race form I'm using, but the blinkers are on. Samanga Kumalo. And then Line in the Sky, I expected better last time out, Graham. In fact, much better. But the race time betting suggested that he cold in the betting market, and she ran accordingly. In fact, she ran the back of the field and well beaten. But if you're going to judge her on 2 prior runs on the poly track, you'll have to give her a mention with Lorena up. So pick 6, Graham, place accumulator, and the biport. My suggestion is those 4 runners, 3, 6, 8, and 10. I think I'll have a chance to maybe double up in the PA. The pick 6, fingers crossed.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Dees. Even by open maiden standards, this is very weak. The average merit rating is 56.
Sure.
56, that's the average merit rating. That's about as low as we can go. And as you say, the favourite, the market leader, number 3, Valley Girl, she brings some nice form into the race, but this will be her 17th attempt at winning a maiden. I'm looking for improvement from number 6, Jump the Green Light. I think you mentioned that they might have found the right race. Well, if she's not going to be competitive or 55.5 in a race like this, then she's really going to struggle going forward. So I'm not going to disagree with you. 3, 6, 8, and 10. Those are the 4 to build your pick 6 perms around, but it is an open maiden. Is it ripe for a potential upset? Of course it is. At this stage, obviously, numbers 13, 14, and 15 are all reserve runners. Watch the websites for the card changes as we get closer to race time. But at this point in time, recording the day before, 3, 6, 8, and 10 are the numbers that we are hoping will carry us through the first leg of the pick 6. Race 5 on the card is an open maiden, another open maiden, this time over 2,000 metres. It's off at 2:05. It is the first leg of Jackpot 1. But this one has an average merit rating of 61 as opposed to the previous race with an average rating of 56. So it's somewhat stronger. But that being said, it's no easier. They go the 2,000 metres. Before we dissect the form in the race, Alison Wright has got number 1, Window to My Soul, from pole position. So let's hear what she has to say.
He's definitely looking for this sort of ground. Disappointing run last time out. He was a bit awkward in the running, changing legs. But he's well. We have put on the blinkers, help him just concentrate a bit, and hoping he can reproduce his previous run.
I'm sorely tempted just to throw the ball directly to Dees and let him have a go at unravelling the mystery of race number 5, but let's have a look at the betting first. Number 1, Window to My Soul. We've just heard comments from Alison Wright. That's at 9-2, relatively lightly raced, only having its 5th racetrack appearance. The favourite is in fact MJ Wedendal's runner, number 8, Take Your Best Shot. That leads the market at 7-2. Number 11, Spectacular, is at 4-1. 12, Fine Wine, who can continue to improve, ran well enough over 1,600 metres last time, goes the extra 400 metres. Serena Moodley rides for Garth Puller. That's at 15-4. So those are the only runners quoted in single figures. I found one horse, if you like, number 1, Window to My Soul, and the form admittedly is limited, but that's at 9-2. If you look at the Danube form line and the Queenstown form line, then that is safely held, although marginally, but safely held by number 2, Owner of Creation, who's currently trading at 14-1. So you've got Window of My Soul at 9-2, held on form by number 2, Owner of Creation, that is 14-1. This is the kind of race that could produce an upset. So I've already had a little bit of an each-way touch. It's a speculative each-way touch on number 2, Owner of Creation. Now it's your turn, Dees. Have a go.
I think well spotted there, Graham, for trifectas and quartets, number 2, Owner of Creation. But I must agree with Alison Wright. If the racing fans out there got a bit of time, go on to Gallop TV, go and have a look at that replay of the last start. I agree with her totally. The horse was, up and down. That's the way I saw it, but she used the word changing legs. So that's spot on. Blinkers on. Big draw swing around, Graham. Last 2 runs, 12 out of 12, 9 out of 10. And I can see why, a horse like Owner of Creation finished in front of this horse. But now the blinkers on, pole position, a must in everything. This horse called Take Your Best Shot for MJ Odendaal. Can't fault both the runs for MJ Odendaal. Should be ready to possibly finish in the number 1 box, having won those 2 runs. 11, Spectacular for Glenn Codson. Yeah, we often see it in these low division handicaps, Graham, since we've changed over to different naming of our races in these Class E handicaps that maidens take on winners, and this horse raced against winners his last 2 runs, and now against Maiden Company. I think we'll have to respect that. And then 12, Fine Wine. I'm going to say, from my assessment of Sereno Moodley's rides on the day, this could be his best chance if I had to single out a winner. Because last time out, Can You Do the Hula is trained by God Puller, the stable companion, and he was draw 9 out of 9, or she was draw 9 out of 9. And now it's only the draw that can beat this filly. If I had to pick my outright choice, 12, Fine Wine, going to be my top selection, ahead of number 1, Window to My Soul. A lot of respect for 9 and 11, and your horse gets my vote for quartets and trifectas.
I'm actually in agreement with you. I think my top choice on form would be number 12, Fine Wine, and Pedigrees. Had a good start on the polytrack, ran second, only start on the polytrack. By Futura out of a mare by Silvano, bred to relish the 2,000 metres. So yes, my top choice, as is the case with these, would be number 12, Fine Wine. As I mentioned, my each race bet on number 2, Owner of Creation, is a speculative one because of the value. I think he's overpriced when compared to number 1, Window to My Soul. So there are a few with chances, but both Dees and I are in the camp of Sereno Moodley's ride, number 12, Fine Wine, to come out on top.
Race number 6, and what's this? A Class 4, 1,600 meters. What a race. Let's go to our interview package.
Oh, look, you can write that race off, because if he actually watched the race again, he jumped out the pens and actually stumbled, and Craig lost his irons. So it took a while for Craig to get his feet back in the irons. So he landed at the back of the field and he just left him alone. So today, on Sunday, his work is good. So I'm hoping for a nice run. He could probably squeak into the quartets.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously he's won a couple and he went up, and now he's consistent. So it takes a bit of time for him to come down. But like I said, he's doing really well at home, and with a bit of luck in running, although it is competitive, he loves the track and trip, and yeah, with a bit of luck he'll be there.
Okay, racing fans, however you play your bets and however you choose to play your bets is up to you, but this is one of the races that I won't be missing out on playing a quartet. The betting is like so. Number 1, Global Movement, 7-1. 2, White Seahorse is at 11-2. Number 3, Prince Florian at 8-1. 4, Numzan at 7-2. 5, Legendary at 7-1. 6, Palermo is one of the runners that I have to give a mention, because that's in double figures, Graham. And then number 10, Star of the Future at 9-2. And number 9, Rodriguez, also in double figures. Graham, I'm just going to give you short comments for these runners, and maybe you're going to try and narrow things down from what I have to say. This horse, Palermo, by the way, is at 10-1. And horse Rodriguez is at 14-1. So those are 2 nice roughies to not leave out of your quartet. Graham, Global Movement, Tinny Prince 2, Tristan Godden. On the way he's been finishing off his races, I think the draw is a big plus. It could be nicely weighted with 54.5. White Seahorse, I respect the amount of Gavin Larena, and a horse that was very generously priced when he won the maiden. Number 4, Numzan, 2 from 2, Sereno Moodley. He gets the right tune out of this horse, but he needs to have things his own way. When he's in front, he seems to run his best races, and the other jocks and other stables would, notice that and possibly, make it a bit tougher for him this time round. Palermo, Comnaido's runner, that's in double figures. She races with the tongue tie off. Arguably, the best form line in the race, Graham, and I pulled it out. I'm going to read it out to the racing fans. That last start behind Down by the River, Inkwele, Rooster Bradshaw, Mr. Nibbles, a winner and a subsequent winner, Tobacconist, Ibuto, and a subsequent winner in Ralph the Rascal. If you want to follow one form line amongst this field, it could be number 6, Palermo. Rodriguez, I'm including it in all bets because last time out, at a big price, expected much better from the horse, but go and watch that replay. Andrew Fortune had nowhere to go. He said last, I thought maybe the gaps will open. It didn't. He was just punched out of the hands. He wasn't ridden out at all because there was nowhere to go. So I think he'll come into this race fresh and then star of the future on his last 2 starts. Wow, can't leave him out. So Graham, a tough race. Numerical order, I'm going to give you 5 numbers, 1, 4, 6, 9, and 10.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow this race down. There are a couple of gaps in the numbers you've given me compared to what I give a chance to. I think one has to say it's a very, very competitive class for 1,600 metres. I think you can expect any kind of a result. It's difficult to draw a line through any of them. I know you've included number 1, Global Movement, off the back of that third behind Serpentine Fire, where he finished ahead of number 2, White Seahorse. I'm quite confident that White Seahorse is going to turn that form around, particularly as they come from Hollywoodbets Scottsville back to the polytrack. If you look at White Seahorse's form on the polytrack, 3 starts for 2 seconds and a third. I think he'll have every chance. Both are well drawn. I think he'll have every chance of turning that form around with number 1, Global Movement. So in sort of comparing 2 horses, I would go 2 White Seahorse above number 1, Global Movement, but I respect the fact that you've included number 1 and Brass number 2. We heard there from Alison Wright that things went awry for 3 Prince Florian, but I'll sit on the fence with him. He's still just a one-time winner. Zaki lost his irons last time out, and the horse pretty much had no chance from there. Numzan, obviously, as you mentioned, likes to dictate. I think Legendary is interesting for me, another that you haven't included in your short list. Competed in the Secretariat Stakes last time out. Behind Troy Sonada, and that was not a bad effort, and drops in class here. So I think Legendary, first time on the polytrack, has a chance. You've mentioned Palermo, I'm in agreement with that. Rodriguez, I'm in agreement with that, and obviously 10 Star of the Future brings good form into the race. We're not being of much help, and we don't want to carry on waffling because it is a tough race. If you pushed me into a corner for one top selection in the race, I'd take a punt to number 5, Legendary. 7th race on the card is a D Stakes, average merit rating 66. As we were chatting off air, it doesn't get any easier. Low-grade race over 1,600 metres, but it is the first leg of the second Jackpot, being a 10-race program, and we do have an interview with Stuart Ferry, who trains number 2, Tea Time Tipple.
Yeah, listen, I think I made a little mistake of his coming back run. I should never put the blinkers on his comeback run. He was a bit too keen. So off a nice draw this time, taking the blinkers off, hopefully, so he's not quite as keen as he was last time. And yeah, he's doing well at home, and he's had the one run. If he brings his form always was good. It was just he was never winning again. So if he brings it home work back to the track, I'm hoping for a good run.
This is certainly not an easy race. This is a tough race, race 7. It's another one of those where you've got to go extremely wide if you want to be sure you're going to get through. I'm interested to hear what Dees Dinan might have found for us. I'm kind of got a gut feeling that number 4, Porfirio, is going to run well for the Cobb Naidu stable. And of course, Joshua Hot Snake is very much at home on the Hollywoodbets polytrack, but there are others with chances. The weak market leader is number 10, El Rey Vienne, at 9-2. So they're betting 9-2 the field. And there are only 4 other runners quoted in single figures. Number 6, Joshua Hot Snake at 11-2. Number 8, Connoisseur, 13-2. 4, Porfirio at 8-1. And 5, Future Saint at 8-1. But again, this is a race that you could run any number of times over, and you'll get different winners on each occasion. Have you found a bit of inspiration for us, Dees?
Maybe the front runner, Graham, number 10, El Rey Vienne. If I'm going to pick a top choice, it's going to be this horse, because last time out, Sean Veal would have used the horse up from that wide draw to go and race up handy. Had nothing to come. 0 to come, Graham. Beaten 8 lengths by Serpentine Fire. The fractions they were going up front. It wasn't surprising to see this horse not find, but this time round against this field, the polytrack form is not the worst. I think if Sean can possibly get a cozy lead from that draw. I'm looking on the inside. Mohandas, no pace. Connoisseur doesn't like to go to the front. 7, Lucretia. So the 3 horses on his inside will be of help for him getting over. And on his outside is a horse that, can race up handy. So it'll be Samanga Kumala and Sean Veal vying for position. So that's going to be my roving banker in the race. But I'm playing with my rule, with the exotics, with 5 runners. For Porfirio, I agree with you. I also have that sneaky feeling that, whilst the polytrack we know is his best surface, the claim for, there are a lot of 64s here, Graham, that's weight-wise, and Commerce elected to claim the 4-year. 5, Future Saint, Tini Princess, Larina, you have to be including Larina and everything, regardless of the form as well. He's looking for winners, he's vying for the championship, it's becoming a tight race now. So, Fori is not in town, Larina will be taking full advantage of that. 6, Joshua Hotsnake, Wendy Whitehead's runner, good polytrack form. Just a slight question mark over the distance with number 6, Joshua Hotsnakes. And then 10, Connoisseur, taking forever to win again, but that last start was fair. So 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, playing with my rule. 5 runners here. Graham, your roving banker?
I'd be in your camp. I think from a consistency perspective, I would think that the right roving banker in a competitive race for this quartet would be number 10, El Ravien. He's no good thing, but every chance of running into the top 4. But 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, those are Deez's numbers, and I'm not going to differ.
Race number 8 over 1400 meters, a class 3, lots of form to work around here. And this is where it becomes, a bit easier to try and work things out. But when I say a bit easier, we've got different form lines that we have to compare against. And maybe these trainers in the interview package will give us some confidence.
Yes, he's a fit, happy horse heading into his race. Obviously he's ideally drawn to get the run of the race. He has had a run on the poly and it appeared that he may not have acted, but that was over a mile. So dropping back to his pet distance, I think we can see him be far more effective on the poly. There does potentially look to be good tempo in the race from the outside. So he should get the run of the race from an ideal draw, and I expect him to be competitive. Yes, all his best form initially was over 1200. However, his pedigree is an out-and-out staying pedigree, and I think he's lost that early toe out the gates. So stepping up to 1400 should be just down his alley at this stage. He looks really well in himself, and I expect a promising effort from him.
Yeah, he's always thereabouts. It is a more competitive field this time out, and hoping he can run into the money.
Yeah, deep draw. He's not the easiest. He likes to hang in, so if the bad draw is not going to help him. But there's not a lot in the program for him until middle of August. So we just go out there, drop him in, see if he'll run on.
Yeah, no, he definitely is a trier. He was actually one of those horses that galloped with the Royal Prince on the July Gallop, but he's doing well. We're just keeping him fresh. He won well at Scottsville. He loves the poly. The only thing is we just got to contend with our little bit of a bad draw 11, but he'll give a good count for himself.
Well, I didn't know that. The Real Prince, Hollywoodbets Durban July winner, and this was the stable companion in the Gallop. Many will take notice of that. Thank you, Nicolette Roscoe. That is big help. So, Graham, I'm playing with my rule here. 5 runners, taking a chance, but I'm not confident at all in the exotics because I think you could get something else popping up. Numerical order, my numbers. Hope is power. I think it's about time Garrett put this horse over slightly further. And this is what he's done, 1400 meters. Kumalo is plus a half kg, doesn't worry me. Vibe SA coming to win from that form line. 1400 should suit this horse nicely. Then I move along to number 3, Mexican Pete for Nathan Kotson. Better last time out and seems to run much better on the poly track. And on that last start behind Kitchikal, can't leave that one out, Graham. 5, Agrado. Here's another horse. Having watched him over shorter, I think 1400 is going to suit him much better. This is a quality horse, Graham. I don't think we've seen the best of him. As a 4-year-old, I'm going to suggest one to follow. He could be nicely weighted here, 53.5 on his back. 11, Rosh Kadesh. Thank you, Nicolette Roscoe. That was the working companion to Hollywoodbets Durban July winner, the Real Prince. Loves the polytrack game. Good win last time out, beating Serpentine Fire, who we saw since come out to win. And then this horse now gets in. This is what it means. We are awaiting a jockey. MJ Ordendal, take a bow. You've just turned it around with this horse going for 4 in a row. Before I pass it over to you, Graham, I'm going to give you the betting. Number 1, Hope is Power, 8-1. 2, Plaza Accord, 8-1. 3, Mexican Pete, 8-1. Horse number 5, Agrado, 8-1. Superstice de Slengwa rides number 7. Then we got the 3-1 shot, 11, Rosh Kadesh. And the reserve runner that gets in will jump from draw 8 is at 9-2. This is what it means. Graham, nice race to grab the quartet with a minimum spend.
Very, very competitive, hot race. Competitive for the right reasons. Some really good form in the race. And just to re-emphasize that this is what it means, gets a run because number 8, Voldemort, is a scratching. It's a tough race. Number 1, Hope is Power, like you, nicely weighted, drawn in pole position. Gareth Van Zyl, Samanga Kamalo, the in-form combination. You cannot leave out Hope is Power. Plaza Accord steps back to 1,400 meters. Very much his preferred distance. He's got good form over this sort of trip. Mexican Pete also agrees. His best form is on the polytrack. He was a feature race winner as a 3-year-old. He's starting to come down to a more competitive rating. Strathclyde, you haven't given a mention. I'm going to give a mention because the last run showed a slight return to form. He's only had 1 start on the polytrack, which he won. Brevin Plykes, the champion apprentice elect, takes a valuable 1.5 kilos off the back, so that's got 59. And if Strathclyde gets the run of the race from the front, he could confirm the fact that he's very much at home over this track and trip. But I think the top choice, irrespective of what Nicolette Roscoe said, I think the top choice in any case is number 11, Rosh Kadesh. Was beaten in its penultimate start by This Is What It Means, but is 3.5 kilograms better off. So I do think that 11 Rosh Kadesh and 13 This Is What It Means brings the best form into the race, but there are others with chances, as you've mentioned.
Tough race to try and narrow things down, but I'm glad that both Graham and myself are on the same page. The only horse that I've omitted to mention, he's given a chance, is number 9, Strathclyde, so one has to factor that in. So that is it, racing fans. A race where we'll see what happens and what comes up on top. But again, I think those 5 runners of mine, along with Graham's number 9, Strathclyde, could be good enough for the exotics.
Race 9, the first leg of the last double, the Equine Group D Stakes, 1,200 meters. The average merit rating is 63. The race is due off at 16:25, and we have interviews from Alison Wright and Stuart Ferry.
Yeah, he's had very consistent runs of late. He is well, and his work has been good, and hopefully another good run from him.
Yeah, like 12, 14's his go, but there's obviously no 14s for a while either on the poly. But yeah, listen, his first run was pleasing on the poly, and you know, he obviously showed really good work in Cape Town. That's why they sent him here to try on the poly. So he's doing well at home, and yeah, I think he should be a runner there.
I think the most interesting runner in the race is possibly number 3, Gaelic Dancer, Gavin Lorino. He mentioned earlier, Dees, that Gavin is going to try and steer everything that he can into the winner's enclosure. He gets a good draw aboard the Paul Matchett trained 3-year-old daughter of Kirari. She ran second by Unfaithful Neo last time out. The average merit rating there was 72, so comes all the way back to an average merit rated 63. Has had 1 start, though, previously on the polytrack and drew a blank on that occasion. The other interesting runner for me is number 8, Music Is Life. Once again, Gareth Van Zyl and Samanga Kamalo, they team up. Does have 64 to shoulder, but likes the track and trip. Hasn't yet won over the track and trip, but 6 starts have yielded a 2nd, a 3rd, and 2 fourths, so that's good enough for me. But Dees, we were chatting off air, your play of the day comes here in the form of number 9, Bang Street.
Yeah, if I've survived thus far in the exotics, it's going to be one horse that I'll be looking for here. Don't want to multiply that per mount or whatever it costs up to race number 8. We're just going to include number 9, Bank Street. in everything. Stuart Ferry's, I did have a word with Stuart Ferry the last time this horse ran, which was the first run for the yard, and he was expecting a good run. Remained firm at around 3-1, 7-2 in the betting market. And yeah, I'm going to watch that replay. You know, I'm not saying that the horse did not finish well, but I just found that he could have just needed it. That's the way I saw it. I expected a better finish from him. I know that it was 22.8 seconds, but the way the race worked out, it was nevertheless a good third behind Danube. Good introduction. I think deserves his weight of 61.5 kgs, considering the horse was an 84 when he was at his best. So he's come down nicely. The poly track was no issue last time out. Slight concern, Graham, is the drop in distance over 1,200 meters, but I think the speed will be on, and with the 9 draw, Tristan Godden's not going to hurry this horse along. Just leave him where he's comfortable. The quicker they go, the better it'll suit him. I'm all in here with Bank Street as my top choice in the race. And if you're looking for one more horse's cover, you mentioned the filly number 9, Gaelic Dancer, with Gavin Lorena up, anti-post 7-2 into 3-1. There is some action around for her. But Graham, you know, we've been going on and off horses throughout the race card. In this race, I like this horse a lot. I think worth a go as well in your multiples.
So number 9, Bang Street, a solid first choice for Dee's Diner. Number 3, Gaelic Dance, as we mentioned, is interesting. 2 others that I quickly have to mention because they deserve a mention. They bring good, consistent form into the races. Numbers 1, Irish Rover, and 5, Victor Rail. I've just got a feeling that Music is Life, who was racing off a rating of 86 12 months ago, now a 66. 1,008 days since he last tasted success. I think he's going to run well. Whether well enough to win, I'm not sure, but I do think that number 8, Music is Life, is going to run well. But I respect the views of Dee's Dinan. Very strong. Number 9, Bank Street.
Race number 10, we close things off, 1,200 meters. And take note, if we haven't mentioned it, Jackpot 2 does begin in race number 7. So usually, you know, it's races 5 and 6 when we have 9 race cards. But a 10 race card, the Jackpot 1, it will be race 5, and Jackpot 2, race number 7. So Jackpot 2 ends here, racing fans. It's a class 4 over 1,200 meters. Nicolette Roscoe, she's been busy with some interviews. Maybe she's going to end off with some confidence.
No, she definitely can. You know, last time out she actually landed 3 wide the whole way around. It was a waste of a run, really. Not complaining to the jock at all, but unfortunately when you race 3 wide and that, it makes it very difficult for a horse to actually run on. So she's doing well at home, and if we can get in, she's drawn nicely on the day, so I'm sure we can get into a nice position and see her run into the money.
Yeah, you know, we watch this. Let's just touch on that, Graham, before we touch on the field. We watch racing on a daily basis from all around the world. Most jurisdictions, racing wide doesn't seem to be an issue, whether it's Hong Kong, whether it's the UK, whether it's American racing in the evening. But in South Africa, that is like a rule that, you don't race wide.
Sometimes you have to race wide, and it only becomes an excuse when you get beat racing wide. When you've won racing wide, what a pearl of a ride that was. Couldn't get in, kept in balance, the momentum through the end of the turn. But yes, obviously you're covering more ground if you're racing wide. But sometimes, not everybody can get on the fence. And that's why races generally work out best for the punter when there's a solid pace. Because when there's a solid pace, the field stretches out a bit and everybody can get into at least one off the fence. But back to this race, I haven't factored number 4, Get Off My Cloud, at all into the play. In fact, I'm only focusing on 2 runners. I do think that number 10, Papillon Bleu, is the one to beat. Unbeaten track and trip, 2 from 2, is clearly taken to the surface. Gavin Arena rides for Pit Buerta. He's been having his winners. We all hope that Montine will arrive in his best possible shape on Champions Day at the end of the month, because that's the principal reason that Pit Buerta is here. But he's had some winners in between. And of course, this Daughter of Path Falk has won twice for him already this season. Number 10, Papillon Bleu, and I think in with a big shot. But double figure odds for me. Number 7, Blush of Dawn. She's not consistent, and you've got to catch her right. But for the services of JC Buertas, 48 kilograms. She loves the surface. She's a 6-time winner on the surface. So she's well seasoned. She's rising 9 years of age. We can't expect, obviously, any improvement. We can't even expect consistency. But if she's in the right galloping mood, with 48 on her back, I think she might go very close to winning at big odds.
Okay, Graham Hawkins has given you the value. The betting is like so. 3, Happy Fortune, 4-1. 5, Beautiful Rania, 7-1. Graham's selection is at 14-1, and each way play there. Horse number 7, Blush of Dawn. Number 8, Illa de Grey at Illa de Orange at 6-1. 9, Crafty, the 2-year-old filly, 5-1, and 10, Papillon Blue is at 5-2. So Graham likes number 7 as an each way play at around 14-1. That's number 7, Blush of Dawn. Just quickly, Graham, Rafif's choice, I think don't leave that one out of Jackpot 2. Horse number 3, Happy Fortune for Daryl Moore. Good run behind Pour Some Sugar Me, who since come out to run on Hollywoodbets Durbanville. They're not the worst of runs. Yeah, if you're going to listen to Nicolette Roscoe and comments about not reading too much into that last start, considering the horse race wide, then that filly has to be factored into Jackpot 2 as well. 9, Illa de Orange, Crafty. Well, Colin Naidu, one of the owners, was supremely confident last time out when I chatted to him about this filly winning, and she won effortlessly. How much more to come? There could be plenty. And then Graham's suggesting that Papillon Blue is going for 3 on the bounce. Simply loves the poly track for Pit Porter. Could be the right horse in the race. But the value could be number 7, Blush of Dawn, that Graham Hawkins has given you for all your bets at around 14-1. I'm going to choose one horse that I think could be a big factor here, and that's number 3, Happy Fortune, on that last start behind Pour Some Sugar on Me. And that is it, racing fans. Yeah, it's a race meeting that you're going to have to be brave and bold to try and minimize your spend, and hopefully things fall into place. The exotics should play well. Thank Graham Hawkins, thank the Gallop TV team, and from myself, Dees Dine, and to you, the valued racing fan, hopefully it turns out to be a wonderful Sunday if you're playing at Hollywoodbets Greyville on the poly track. Until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gasli.